Davante Adams and arguably the team's top 5 pass catchers all absent from organized team activities yesterday, along with Aaron Rodgers, which left Jordan Love with a makeshift group of receivers to work with. So, Brandon, we'd heard back during free agency, right, that Rodgers told teammates he might not be back. What do you make of Rodgers and the Packers' top 5 receivers skipping OTAs?
Yeah, this is a big deal. Some may look at this and just say it's just OTAs, but the tradition and what we do in NFL, like we come together in the offseason. That's extremely important, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. So this is the wide receiver standing in solidarity with their quarterback. This is a big deal. I said it yesterday when we had this conversation that the Packers need to figure this out ASAP, because if they don't, it's going to break down the integrity of everything they're trying to do in the locker room. You saw this a couple weeks ago, so you had to see it coming when reports surfaced that Aaron Rodgers was in a group text with some of his teammates mocking the general manager. So this is another situation where it's showing that it's breaking down not only at the top, but trickling down into the locker room. And this is a huge problem, Coach. They need to figure this out ASAP, whether that is moving forward Aaron Rodgers and not Brian Gutekunst, or you know, going to the other end of the spectrum. This is going to break down your team, and then it's going to mess up what you're trying to do come September.
Yeah, Brandon, I don't know if this is solidarity or self-preservation by the wide receivers. I certainly wouldn't want to be the one wide receiver that makes Aaron Rodgers mad, assuming that he ends up coming back. that could be very bad for your production and your opportunities moving forward. But this situation, it's not going to get resolved in the short term. And actually, it's a pretty big bonus for Jordan Love. He didn't have an off season last year. He didn't get a chance to have the OTAs and to run the huddle and to do all those things. He was inactive for every game of the season this past season. So for him to get every single rep, to get the exclusive attention of the coaching staff, to be able to run the huddle and the mechanics, it's huge for him. It's actually a bonus, I think, for Matt LaFleur and for the Packers to be able to work with him without Aaron there and give him the reps that he didn't get last year.
All right, so, Coach, I got a question for you, because you're right, he didn't get the reps last year, and I read this week that not only was he the inactive third quarterback, he being Jordan Love, on game day all year, he was the third quarterback in practice as well. Tim Boyle was the second-team quarterback in practice. So let's say you are Matt LaFleur, and you obviously want Aaron Rodgers, but you also have been staying out of this, okay? And at these OTAs, Jordan Love looks awful. I'm not saying he will, but let's just hypothetically, that he has not improved greatly. That you after these OTAs, you're looking and you're like, we're not going to be able to compete with him. At any point, would you consider trying to have a meeting with Mark Murphy and saying, listen, I'm not telling you what to do in regards to the Rodgers versus Gutekunst very obvious feud that's happening. What I am telling you is Jordan Love does not appear that he's going to be able to start NFL games for us this year. Do with that information what you want. Because I'm really curious how this is going to land with LaFleur if Love looks terrible during these OTAs.
Well, the difficult thing with that is Gutekunst hired LaFleur. So was that a plus decision? Over half of this roster he brought in. They had the biggest turnaround in terms of wins when he took over as the GM. They've been 13-3 in back-to-back seasons, which they didn't have a record that good in I think it was 7 years prior to that. So there's been a significant amount of success and a significant amount of good decisions. So now the guy who hired me, I'm going to go in to the president and try to undercut him. And Aaron is saying how much he loves the head coach, how much he loves the players, how much he loves the town. Look, love me less and show up. This is, if you really love someone, you're there. Like, this is a strange way to express your love for everybody.
Brandon, how does this actually come to fruition? Do all the wide receivers talk to each other and be like, well, if Aaron's not there, I'm there? And have you ever done this or heard of this happening in the past?
Yeah, no, actually, we were the first to do it. Eric Decker and I, we came off a big year in 2015. Eric had a monster year. I had a monster year. Fitzy had a monster year. We went, we walked away from that season with 10 wins. And Fitz just wanted around $12 million a year, and our team wouldn't do that. We were looking forward to our offseason because we didn't have an offseason. It was Geno Smith leading the way. Then Geno Smith, if you guys remember, get punched in the jaw, broken jaw, he's out. Yeah. Now you insert Ryan Fitzpatrick, a week or two before the season. So we were extremely excited about that to build off of what we had. So we tried to force the team to get it done. So Eric Decker and I held out. Yes, absolutely, wide receivers understand the impact of your quarterback being there and not being there. So this is a huge deal. But Coach, I want to throw it back to you because every time we have these conversations about players, holding out or being disgruntled or maybe not seeing eye to eye with an organization, you just keep saying, just show up, show up. Well, he's been there for 16 years, and all he's asking for is a little bit more. What's wrong with that? And you have Brian Gutekunst, who went out there and drafted Jordan Love, and he didn't provide any type of value. He didn't even help. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers, who's at the tail end of his career. Why wouldn't he go out there and bring in a wide receiver, an offensive lineman, hell, a safety that can turn the ball over and give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers? So I think this conversation is bigger than just player just doing what he's supposed to do and just showing up.
No, I'm not advocating that he just blindly accept everything that's happened. But when you look at it, Brendan, objectively, they brought in a significant amount of good players, and they were active in free agency a year ago and brought in a significant amount of good free agents. Aaron was the product of being drafted and taking the spot of a Hall of Fame quarterback. He was part of that. He's experienced that. And to say that it's about the people is vague. What do you want? What can we do to resolve this? Is the only way that it's resolved if somebody gets fired? And is that the right answer at this point? If you're clear with what you're hoping to get done, and look, maybe he has been behind closed doors, but there's a lot of vagueness in what he's expressing. Is it contract related? Is it more money? Well, what exactly do you need to get back to the field? Well,
here's the thing. There's some vagaries in what he needs to get back to the field. There is not vagaries in who he's mad at. With Kenny Mayne, he name-checked or shouted out every level of the organization except for one, management. He's mad at management. And management is Brian Gutekunst. Like, he made it clear it's not the players, it's not my teammates, it's not Jordan, it's not the coach, it's not the fans, it's not the city, it's not the cheese curds, but he didn't say anything about management. So we know exactly who he's mad at, and I am not saying that Aaron Rodgers is putting the Packers in an easy position, but I do think it is an easy decision. You don't want to be here, and it is not fair. Coach makes some good points about some good things that Brian Gutekunst could potentially claim credit for. I just happen to think that if I'm Mark Murphy, I'm saying, listen, one guy's the second best in the world at what he does. The other guy's a guy. A guy is probably going to lose his job if it gets me the other guy back.
Just a guy. Just a guy. Eric Mangini, thank you so much, as always.